At Alterra Mountain Company, Kids Ski Free Week is back, and it's the perfect reason to plan your next family ski trip. From December 6th through the 12th, kids can ski free at 15 incredible North American destinations, no strings attached, and no purchase necessary. It's 7 full days of lift tickets for kids 12 and under at 12 destinations, and tickets for kids 17 and under at Stratton and Schweitzer. So grab the gear, pour the cocoa, and let your little ones lead the way. Whether they're new to the snow or already flying down the hill, this is their week to shine. Pick the participating mountain of your choice and head over to their website to claim your free kids lift tickets. Find all participating destinations in the show notes for this episode.
Welcome back to the Ski Moms podcast. It's season 5 and we're hitting the slopes. We're sharing real, unfiltered stories of motherhood on the snow. From conquering the bunny hill with toddlers to squeezing in your own powder days, this season celebrates every type of ski mom. Thanks for joining us. We've got a great season lined up, and be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Today on the Ski Moms podcast, we're joined by Julie Gacnik, the creator, the mom who helped the creator behind Pure Mountain Fun, a brand built around simple, purposeful ski accessories that help families enjoy their time in the mountains without all the stress. As a mom who understands what it's like to juggle boots, skis, snacks, and kids all at once, Julie has turned her own ski day frustrations into smart, mom-approved products. And Sarah and I have tested them. We love them. We are so excited to talk to Julie about what has become a family business. So welcome, Julie.
Thank you.
Sarah and I love a good ski show. We trolled the aisles, and she saw the pack and she's like, what is this? And it's so lightweight. It's so clever. It's so simple. Tell us what the ski pack is that kind of started it all.
Yeah, you bet. So the ski pack is a 3.5-ounce ski carrier designed to fit like a backpack, but also intuitive enough that a little child, such as a 3-year-old, understands how to carry it. And then when they're done carrying their skis, it literally stuffs right in their backpack. The beautiful part is it lets a child carry their skis hands-free. And so when a family member's navigating a parking lot or walking between cars, you're not getting those door dings or those racing stripes down the side of the car because the skis are, scratching them. They're not dragging them. It literally is secured to the child's back. So a parent could lift a kid up, carry him like you traditionally would, or just hold their hand, load a bus. It really simplifies the process.
Very, as they say in the tech world, elegant design, like less is more. So we'll dive more into that. But first, we want to hear your ski background. Where did you learn to ski? When? How did it all come together for you?
So I grew up in the Midwest, which is kind of funny considering now I do a lot in the ski industry. I grew up in Iowa, and so I actually learned to ski at Snowstar. They called it a ski mountain. And I think there were 3 runs at the time. And so we always joked and said, if you grew up skiing in the Midwest, you know how to ski on ice, and so you can ski anywhere. And that was really true. I was the youngest of 4, so I was always chasing my older brothers and kind of learning to navigate all the terrain they would take me on, which was wonderful. In my early 20s, I kind of wanted to get out, so I moved to Colorado. And so I was really, at that time, skiing more in the mountains here. I'd had exposure to it prior to moving out here, which kind of just enhanced that love for the outdoors in general, but specifically the winter sports on the mountain. So, yeah.
So you're saying you're the youngest of 4. Were you taught in lessons, or did you just get out there and they just threw you out there behind the brothers?
That's a great question. You know what I remember? Okay, so there's another kind of mountain back there, and it's called Chestnut Mountain, which was like big time getting to go there on a weekend because there were more than 3 runs at that time. And I learned to ski between my dad's legs, going down in that nice little snowplow, or pizza as they call it now. And I remember doing that. And once I could make turns and stop efficiently, then I was just chasing my older brothers. And I do recall one trip to Keystone Resort when I was a kid, and my dad had hurt his knee. And so he took me to my first lesson ever. And they said, well, what does she ski? And he goes, oh, she skis a whole mountain. Well, there's a very big difference between skiing a whole mountain in Iowa or Illinois or Wisconsin and skiing a mountain in Colorado. And so I was on diamonds and double diamonds the entire day and had the fear of God put into me at that point. So, but it also taught me that, if you really are coachable and you listen to the instructor, you can get down anything. And after that, I had no problem keeping up with my older siblings. It was wonderful. I felt like I really had stepped up the game. So,
And now tell us a little bit about your family and how you've gotten them up and running.
sure. So, we're a family of 6. I have 4 children. They all started skiing around the age of 3. And partly no one wanted to be left behind. And anybody younger than that would kind of pout or throw a fit at a lodge or anywhere. I remember one time our youngest had thrown on her mittens, and she was like a toddler, had her mittens on and her snow boots, not even ski boots, and thought she was going, threw a helmet on. And so we just got them on the mountain early. I honestly did teach most of them to ski. They all did have exposure to lessons. Some of them at Loveland, they had a kind of a little family pack to start them off, and that was great when we relocated back out here. And so it was just, that is our weekend adventure. We call that our backyard. We live right outside of Denver. So going up to the mountains for a weekend is 45 minutes to an hour and a half, drive without traffic. We all know what it is with traffic, a lot more. But it really is a way to get us out. We do things as a family. Even now, I have a 16-year-old, and she still prefers to ski with the family because we make it fun. It's really about the experience, and how you start and finish the day really, I think, impacts if a kid wants to come back.
It sounds definitely like the early days were probably very challenging with 4 little ones. Tell us about the origin of the ski pack and, how it all
Great.
started.
Great question. Okay, so in 2020, my husband he actually had long haulers from COVID that started, right? And so everything, the way it all came together is so unique. 2020, my daughter did a Destination Imagination project through the elementary school. She was 10 years old. We went on a demo day to Beaver Creek, and we got approached as we loaded a shuttle from some grandparents saying, "Where did you buy that?" Because all 4 kids literally walked onto this shuttle, grabbed onto the bar, and were ready to ski. And nobody else could do that. And our youngest had just turned 3. So here's this 3-year-old kind of walking like she owned the place, right? And I kind of told them who we were and whatnot. And I didn't have the heart to say it was sewed on a $40 sewing machine, because this was for a school project. But we knew we were onto something because we got approached more and more then. And so we quickly threw a utility patent on this idea that she had, not knowing what it would become, but more so just giving us time to think about it. So for $140, you file this paperwork just to safeguard it. And we decided, okay, we're going to do something with it. She presented it for her project at Destination Imagination, and then we really kind of rolled with it. We launched Pure Mountain Fun in early March, and a week later, the ski industry shut down. So during the time of COVID, it gave us time to figure out how to build a business around this. How do you manufacture when everything had to move domestic? Where should you be if trade shows are closing down? Like Outdoor Retailer was virtual that year. All these unique experiences that all of a sudden were done behind, that usually were kind of at large trade shows, were not. And so we were kind of navigating that. The following year, as you recall, it was reservation system to ski. At that time, my husband had long haulers had kicked in. And so I was navigating a resort with 4 kids under the age of 11, and Ellie was still 3. And so it was quite comedic of my deal to them was, if you carry your skis, I'll take you every weekend. And they did. The very few times did not all 4 kids go to the mountain to ski. And so, they would carry their skis. There were no complaints. They would finish a day with a lollipop walking back from the slope, and laughing. And suddenly I knew we were onto something, because I was getting approached as people would kind of look back at this like little line of ducks walking almost, Our oldest would lead the way and I would be at the tail, and they would just walk up and people would just stop and turn as 4 kids and 1 parent were walking totally no complaints, no stress. Sometimes I still had a little cup of coffee in my hand on the way there. And we would get to the slope or the chairlift, stuff these things in the pocket, and off we went. I mean, it totally changed the game for us because there just wasn't that stress. There was no complaints of who had to carry somebody else's skis, or somebody hit me with their skis because they turned around and played a game of whack-a-mole. It just took the stress out of getting to and from the chairlift. It was so crazy.
Ski season starts early in Boston at Snowbound Expo 2025, November 14th to 16th at the Menino Convention and Exhibition Center. It's the ultimate gathering for skiers and riders. Shop gear and apparel with discounts up to 70% off. Meet top resorts and brands. And hear inspiring stories from athletes like Zeb Powell, Amy Engerbretson and Donnie Pelletier. Bring the whole family for hands-on fun, from trampoline shows to ski lessons for kids, or come with friends and dive into New England's biggest winter kickoff party. We've got discounted tickets. You can get $10 tickets for the weekend at snowboundexpo.com/tickets with code MOMTRENDS10. Snowbound Expo Boston. Kickstart your season here.
Yeah, and that mindset of like when you arrive, like if you're in a hot sweat and you've been picking up the mittens and the skis, when you arrive there, you know, the sweat of failure is not a great way to start a ski day, but the kids feel empowered. Like, what a great thing. And they are bright colored, well made. They're super lightweight fabric. So you won't even know that you're carrying this thing. It's definitely like, we're going to put some pictures up so people can see them. Has it changed much from the original version to what we know now? So now we're like 5 years into it.
That's a great question. So what has changed with it are more on the materials. We've also partnered with the university, and part of this was don't work harder, work smarter, right? I had to think, like, how do you navigate this while managing life as it normally is for all of us? And so it was more of moving away from anything that contained nickel. So you'll notice that all of the hardware on it are actually made from aluminum, which is kind of cool. It looks classy. It kind of just sharpens it up a little bit more versus like plastic that in cold weather could eventually crack and break. It's not a nickel, so if your kid chooses to chew on the adjuster straps, they're not at risk for some harmful chemicals there. A year ago, some new regulations started coming down and around PFAS. It's PFAS. And you might hear of this in the industry. You might see changes in the number of colors that, brands are offering. And it really comes down to fluorine, a forever chemical in materials. And we've spent the past year completely eliminating fluorine from our products, which was a really big task. And it takes a lot of time, a big commitment, and a lot of testing, because companies might say it's fluorine-free, but unless they've gone through certified testing, which is required to sell through different partners, you won't really know. So everybody says their product is safe, but is it really? This hit the outdoor industry very hard because a lot of materials that you might think of, I'm going to use an example of like a raincoat, that wicking material or that slick, that requires some of those things typically, okay? There are ways around that now, which is great. So it's more, what we've changed is more in the materials to support it, or when we worked with this university, it was, are we using the right thread to keep the strongest hold of those straps to the pack, right? We've tested these packs up to like, I think it was like 80 pounds that it held. So when people were like, oh, our skis would certainly not work for this, I'm like, you'd be surprised. I mean, ski schools use it for beginners because it's very easy, lightweight, works great with little kiddos. We also have, though, places like Aspen Highlands who's using it with their ski club, where they're going beyond the last chairlift to the summit because it's easier to trek to the top when you're not lugging everything. They use their poles for trekking at that point versus stuffing them in the pack as well. So it really is, the fabric is really the critical component. If you use something that is ripstop type material, even if you got a little puncture, it doesn't allow it to tear. So it really does work slick.
So it sounds like you have a lot to navigate with regulations, maybe some tariffs now. What was your background before you started this? Did you just have to figure it all out?
I did figure it all out. That's a really great question. Yeah, so I was university administrator for 20 years, actually. So my family would relocate around the country, and I would go in and lead organizational change a lot of times with marketing and enrollment departments, and really looking at, honestly, it was a lot of data analytics. So it's understanding what consumers want versus how we supply it to them. And that is true for every industry, right? So it's really understanding your audience. I stepped out when our youngest was about a year old. It was just time. Like, I really wanted the time with family. That was really what was important to me, was my family. And so I did consulting then. And then I started doing data analytics for a technology firm. And so not at all what you think of when you think of, wow, outdoor industry and how. But yeah, a lot of it was learning as we went. So people would say, does your product meet this certification? I'm Googling what that means even. I was like, oh yeah, I'm right on top of that. Like, I don't know. And so it was a lot of, you don't know what you don't know. And so as we've navigated each of these changes, it feels so overwhelming at the time, every single time, like, oh my gosh, this might be the break point. And usually, like anything in life, doesn't matter what your scenario you're talking about, when you slow it down and break it into a step-by-step, what would it take? Not a can we do it? Yes, no, but what would it take? you can overcome almost any challenge, really. But you got to be willing to slow it down and really look at it intentionally and think about it, that ultimate question. What would it take and how do we get there? What do they say? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And it's very true for everything else. Like that flooring piece that was a gut check for us this past year because we really did have to hit pause on selling in a lot of places around the country until we solved that. And that integrity and ethics and playing it fair was really important to us. And even our kids know that because they're very much part of it. The kids choose the colors of what we sell. They hop on the computer and look at the analytics to know who's buying from what regions of the country. And so it's very much a family conversation. Even at the dinner table, we had a third grader ask us, is it worth it? What's it cost to make the pack versus what you can sell it for? So all these things become a learning moment for everybody, which is great.
The child who invented the product of your 4, do they feel specifically invested in this company? Tell me about that.
Yes. So we were approached in the spring with an opportunity to sell the business. And we did really think about it, honestly. And at one point I thought we would. And one dinner table conversation at night, my husband and I basically got attacked by our 4 kids saying, you can't sell this because then we have no control over how people talk about it, or the story behind it. They took a lot of offense to it. And our oldest, who did invent it, is very invested. She travels with us to shows. She has presented to the Snow Pros group. Yes, in terms of when people ask us, we really want a black ski pack. We want that, just sleek black. She's like, that totally goes away from the point, though, of bright reflective gear from a safety component, which was really important to her. Of when her initial target audience was children, she didn't want to lose the why for her. And so, yes, the kids are very invested in this. In fact, so we went with the ski pack in 2020, 2022. You saw the rider pack hit, which is for carrying snowboards, exact same way it carries, kind of like a backpack, but it elevates it high enough in the back where it's not hitting the back of your legs as you walk. This year, I had a 10-year-old, so of course at the dinner table that night, she goes, well, the other 2 got to invent something. It's my turn. And I was like, oh, heavens, here we go, because there's a 4th one then as well. They get excited about it. I think that's part of it now. Early on, there were times where it was, that real conversation of we're at a ski resort in a parking lot, and you'd see another family they're at the start of what is going to be a challenge. And these oldest 2 now will approach a family and they'll say, hey, I invented this. I have an extra one. Would you like it? And they have their skis on their back. And families get pretty excited about it because it just, again, simplifies the process. There's a smile to a kid's face. Everybody's happy. You kind of prevent that meltdown mode. So the kids very much are very active with this now, yes.
Did you feel embraced by the industry as you were going along, or did you feel like you were really going on this alone as an outsider? How did it feel?
That's a great question. Okay, so I think we experienced both, which was real interesting. When I went to individuals that I didn't know, yes, we were fully embraced because people wanted to see success of new brands. They wanted to support. I reached out to some friends who actually work in the industry, and I had one friend, and I think it'll stick with me forever. And I said, this is what they've done. Here's what we're thinking of doing. And she's like, her response was, well, it's a very competitive industry. And I was like, go get 'em, Tiger. That's the pep talk I needed. Let me tell you, nothing like a good, swift kick in the tush. But that also inspired me because I've always been one of those, the minute you tell me no, I will figure out a way to make it happen. Still playing the game the right way. But I think it inspired me because I'm like, yeah, but if you tell everybody no, nobody will ever try. And what we learned was there's a power in saying yes to an idea. It doesn't mean it'll go anywhere. But what's the harm in letting a kid or an adult chase an idea that really could be something beautiful? And so, yeah, there's times though, like we had people reach out and they're like, hey, could you send us a sample? We think we have a friend who would love this at their resort. And so we get those moments. So definitely, yeah. And we've felt it very much through the Professional Ski Instructor Association, huge partner with them. And we love them dearly. But partly it's the love of the sport. You're trying to get families out there so that you're developing those new members in the industry. Like that 3-year-old might develop a love and then 5 years down the road, take a friend, and it just grows like wildfire in a positive way, not in a negative way. That might have been a bad one to use. There's definitely been strong supporters. Then we had that one who just told us it's a really competitive industry.
Meet your new favorite travel companion, the Weekend Warrior 2.0 ski boot bag from Diamond. This isn't just a ski boot bag. It's an all-in-one travel bag and boot bag, now upgraded in 4 fresh colors: Dune Gold, Twilight Blue, Vermont Green, and Classic Diamond Black. Available in 2 sizes, the Weekend Warrior 2.0 is designed for real ski life. It's water-resistant with a ventilated boot compartment, padded laptop sleeve, and a helmet canopy that clips right on top. TSA approved as a carry-on, and even sized to fit as a personal item. You can breeze through airports without breaking stride. Durable, weatherproof, and smartly organized, it's built for every winter adventure. Ski Mom listeners can get 10% off with code SKIMOMS at checkout. Find your Weekend Warrior at diamantgear.com. That's DIAMANTGEAR.com.
It is a competitive industry, but that's not to say that there isn't space for something that really works. I remember walking through the ski show, and your booth stands out because it's first of all, it wasn't cluttered. Sarah and I like that. We actually like being able to see the product. I believe some of your kids were there wearing the packs, which was great. So we understood right away what it was and how it worked. And it was brightly colored. It was definitely like fun and joyful in a sea of, there was a lot of black, there's a lot of navy. Who are your best retailers? Are you selling the most through wholesale, through independent stores, or are you selling the most where people are like coming right to Pure Mountain Fun directly and getting them from you?
That's a great question. So we're relaunching our whole Amazon site right now, and we do really well with Amazon. We're just kind of doing a full facelift, refresh it, kind of clean it up, right? E-commerce partners are very strong for us, and which is odd because this feels like a product to me that you would say, well, of course you need to feel it, touch it, try it. And people like the videos, they love seeing it. Uncommon Goods sells out typically within the first week of posting them every year, which is a huge piece. And they're relaunching them this fall again. But otherwise, our website is just always booming. Up in Summit County, we have a couple little shops. I'm going to say one of my cutest little ones is Breck Kids in Breckenridge, because it's right there in town, right on Main Street. And we have a display there with a little set of skis. And it cracks me up because there's all these different ski packs in it. But we have a demo set right there. And the owner, Michelle, tells us every time, she's like, it is funny how many people come in and the kids just start wearing them around the store. So suddenly by the end, the kid wants to keep the skis as well. Or people ask, can I just buy the skis? Because it's hard to find skis that tiny. But parents are buying the ski pack there because their kid has walked around a store without complaining about ever holding skis, 1. And 2, they didn't take out a display. And that in itself is impressive when you've got a 3 or 4-year-old, right?
And so there's the ski pack, which is obviously to carry skis. And then I think you called it the rider pack.
Correct.
For the snowboards. Do you have other products in the line as well?
Of course, yes, right. So my third child, she's the one who told us, she's like, well, I'm 10, and technically I turn 11 in October, so it's my turn. So it was like June or May, I think, this year. She started working. I said, well, what don't you like about skiing? Tell me, what would you solve? She's like, I don't like standing behind the car, trying to hop on a foot to get my foot out of my ski boot into my ski boot without stepping in the snow. And we all sat at the table and we kind of cracked up because I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. She's like, I want a ski mat. As you can tell, they're into literal naming as well. And so I was like, well, that's very intuitive, a ski mat. I said, what would that look like? And so she talked about it. And so we went and tested a bunch of materials, fabrics, and she played with this to understand, was it big enough to kind of get in and out of her ski boot without stepping in the snow? Once the concept was correct in the sizing, then it was finding the right materials, which is where we spent the bulk of our summer. And we actually found a supplier out of Minnesota in St. Paul, which was wonderful. And really what we had to find was something that wasn't only waterproof, had to really be not just tear resistant, it had to be tear proof. Like this thing was going to hold up. Because if you think, sometimes you're in a parking lot where there is still rock, gravel, dirt, grime there, but waterproof. And then it has a top layer, which is, right now it's green. It's a ski mat. It folds up very small, 6 by 6 inches, goes in a little pouch. So once you're done, that grime or dirt from it is not getting into your car, which was the big trick to this all. But it weighs about 2.5 pounds. That one does weigh more, and it is only because of that bottom layer fabric we had to use. So we have a ski mat now. And what's funny is we had people this summer, some members of the Snow Pros said, oh my gosh, this could work really great for mountain biking, because after mountain biking, we're standing behind our car, sometimes covered in dirt, and I just need to change, but I'm standing on gravel. We've also had people from fly fishing that were like, I'm going to try it for fly fishing where I change in and out of my, their waders. Things that we hadn't thought about. Once we did, we asked her to think of other naming conventions, and she goes, no, it's a ski mat. Okay. So it is the ski mat, even though it's used all year long, we're finding out. So, and that hit. And then the original inventor, she actually this summer really thought about it, and I was really proud of her for this. We talked about remnant fabric. What happens to the extra, when it's cut at the manufacturer? And I said, well, that's a great question. So we went through how much was left, and she goes, I think I have an idea. And that night we drove to Home Depot to buy some other stuff that she needed to try to create a prototype. And she invented the ring toss. She goes, Mom, I think, when we're at the lodge, a lot of times we see families and, the younger kids might be tired. Their legs are done. They don't make it all day. She goes, but we don't take technology with us at all. We take a deck of cards as a family. That's our thing. It's small and easy. She goes, but this fabric, I could make a ring toss out of so that a family could stick out their ski poles in the ground in the snow and play a game outside. So yes, you might have some inside time, but there's also time where your kid still wants to move and groove. No child sits still for 3 hours on end. But yeah, it comes with 6 rings. You toss them around your ski poles, and you've invented your own ring toss game for snow play, right? And so she invented her second product this year, which was real exciting as well.
Love that they're continually growing how they view business and inventing. It's amazing. And I did want to say about the car pack, the ski pack, I'm envisioning it's something like you leave in the car. And we have so many road warriors, either from the Front Range or from the tri-state area or from Boston, that are going every weekend, and they're living out of their cars. Sarah and I joked that for many years, where do you live? And I was like, I live in the XC90. That is my home. And,
Yeah.
these little conveniences and comforts can make a huge difference, as we were talking about at the beginning of the podcast, on how you end and begin your day. And those bookends really do make impressions on everybody in the family. Like
Yeah.
mom and dad, like, how hard was this? Am I going to do this again? And the kids, how fun was this? Do I want to do this again?
Yeah. That's totally true. I think that's it. If the kids have fun, if the memories are left on the mountain and not in the parking lot from a negative experience, they had a positive experience on the mountain. They're not worried about the lugging. They do want to go back. And that's what we're finding is people are like, it just simplifies the process. We get some really cool feedback and testimonials from families who are like, maybe I've gone through some tough scenarios or situations and it's like a single family home now or whatnot. And they're like, I didn't think I could do this anymore because it's just hard. And we had a mom last year and she's like, I hadn't seen a mountain in 2 years. And she's like, I was like, I'm gonna try it. She's like, we've gone 3 weekends in a row. She's like, this has changed it. And I'm like, when people say the why, I'm like, it really is worth it. It brings families together. And that's really what it's about. We live in a world that's pretty chaotic sometimes. There's a lot of noise and it's quiet on the slope. You get the laughter. You get some of those moments where you're like, well, I didn't see that coming. But apparently, we ended up on a diamond today and it's going to be a great moment. You laugh about those scenarios. It's not about kind of the everyday stressor everywhere else. And so we know it's an expensive sport. It can be. And we know, though, that if you have a pass and you can maximize your time there and this simplifies it, we're just helping create those memories for you.
What's your home mountain now, Julie?
Oh my gosh, yeah. So our family, we ski Summit County in Colorado quite a bit, okay? Our kids have 2 favorite mountains, so it's very split. Breckenridge and Copper are their favorites. Breckenridge for the variety of terrain, for sure. And I'm not going to lie, there's a gelato shop on Main Street that they love and a cookie shop. They're in it for the food. You can tell it. We motivate through food. Copper Mountain, there's a few runs at the top they will do on repeat because it's away from everybody else. And it's like, I think it's Ptarmigan is one of them. And it's just this little loop. And they would do it all day long if I would let them. There's times I'm like, we should probably explore other parts of the mountain. And they're just content. But we tend to go there when they have fresh snow, which makes it so fun. And you have 6 inches under your skis and kids are just laughing, having a hoot, but it's an area where I feel really safe as well. It's kind of an isolated area where I'm not like, where'd my kid go? They also all ski in bright color clothes because as a mom, it lets me find them very quickly. Or if we're skiing trees, I can find them very quickly. When we're going through, it's like, well, there's that orange jacket. Pretty obvious.
So are you mostly doing day trips?
We actually do both. There's times we are doing the day trips. Absolutely. Like a regular family. We have other sports that the kids like to do. So if there's a basketball game on a Saturday, 10 to 1, it's a Sunday type event. There's other times we try to get up there, like maybe Friday evening and come back Sunday evening. There's also a little trick where we've gone up and with the Epic Pass for kids in Colorado, they can ski Epic Resorts 4 days. So they get this free pass. It's the biggest gift, but it also hooks you in because they fall in love with it. And then you end up buying once they're past 5th grade. So we do that. But, we'll leave at like noon on a Saturday, kind of past the rush hour craze in the morning. And there's people already coming back. We'll get up there at 2 and kind of set up because you got to, just taking your time, enjoying this. Get them set up and they can ski Keystone because Keystone has late day and evening skiing part of the year. So they could ski Keystone, stay overnight, ski someplace all day Sunday, and then still come back. So there's ways we can do it and kind of offset that traffic and still make it really enjoyable experience for the kids. And I say offset traffic because much like other places, what could be a 1-hour drive will quickly turn into, 2 or 3 times that if there's weather conditions rolling in, or if everybody in Denver thinks they're going up skiing for the day too.
Sarah and I, we make fun of I-70 more than anything else on this podcast. What do you keep in your car, or what would you advise new families getting into this to keep in their car to make sure that I-70 is safe? And also, if you get into, what is it called? Like a deadlock, a traffic jam.
Yeah.
Standstill is the word I'm looking for.
Sure. I never leave Denver without a full tank of gas. I just think that's always a safe thing. In winter conditions it's just smart, right? Every kid has a blanket in there. And a lot of times, there's 2 reasons. One, you never know what's going to happen. But also, I found that when they're done skiing on the way back, they pull that little blanket up. And sometimes I have little cat nappers in the back, which is great as well. So we get that. I also have gadgets for them. Like we're big on building. I think there's these it looks like straws and connectors. And so they're building stuff in the back or those little, I'm telling you, in the 1980s, it was awesome. You remember those snowflake looking plastic or wood pieces and you build with them? Yeah, they still sell those. And my kids think that's like the cat's meow. The youngest ones do because they can build and create, right? And so it just keeps them busy, occupies the mind. We just have little things for them to tinker with their hands to keep busy. And then I always have one kid who, doesn't matter where you live, some kids just will get car sick and it happens. And so we have those little blue bags, the air sick bag or car sick bags or whatever. We buy it in bulk because we go to the mountains frequently all year long. And we always have one in the back of every seat just in case. But everybody has a water bottle in the car. We have snacks. So.
And we were big books on tape too. I mean, now you can do Audible. Back in the day, I think we had the CD player. And we would have all these children's books that were read. I remember Imelda Staunton did this series of Room on the Broom. They were so sweet. And the kids can still say, because we listened to them so many times, they can still recite a lot of the lines from the books. Yeah. And then during the early ski racing years, Harry Potter series just absolutely saved us.
Well, and it cracks me up because we'll do this thing now and then. It's okay, I'll just rotate around the kids. My husband and I, we don't pick what song they're listening to. He and I will just be now we're just still, you pick the next song. So it goes down the oldest to the youngest type thing of, okay, you get to pick the next song, which with 3 girls and a boy, the boy is always traumatized because I guarantee you there's a lot more Taylor Swift in his life than he hopes for. And so there's days we will put a band and I'm okay, you can't do a Taylor Swift. Your brother is dying here, guys. Poor kid is the one snowboarder and he is such a trooper though with the girls and he really does look out for them though as well. So, but they like to taunt him with music periodically. Yeah.
That's so funny. So one thing I do know that happened to you this year that we want to touch on briefly is that you did have an accident last year. And I am thinking about this with 4 kids, how it played out on the mountain. And we want to check in, how is your recovery going?
It is the biggest laughter moment in our life. I'm probably the biggest kid of the family. As my husband will say, he's I have 5 children, not 4. Because I am the ringleader of fun. If there's something to be found, I will find it. And so I'm the one who's it's a great snow day. Let's get to the top of the mountain and drop into the powder or this and that. And we had played really hard for 2 days. We were hitting jumps. We were going through the trees coming out and we had found a really great one at Breckenridge. We were hitting it and I will go through and hit the jump first. Yeah, make sure it's great. And then I turn around, I stop, turn around and I take video of them coming through because they think it's so fun to see who can, what's the term? Get the most air. Even if it's only an inch, we make them feel like it's wonderful. And so I went through. It was a great jump. It was at 3:00 in the afternoon. And so we had done this 2 days in a row, went to stop, and they had 18 inches of snow on over the course of those 2 days. I went to stop and I caught my left ski edge. My right ski did not slow down. It came right up and took out my left knee. First time in 45 years I ever had anything happen. And it was a weird, people were like, did it hurt? And I'm like, it didn't hurt. It was this odd like numbness. It was weird, but I couldn't get up right away. And I was like, so I think I was more shock. And so I quickly got my phone out because my kids are yelling, are you ready? Are you ready? And I'm thinking, I don't know what I just did, but I got to get a video. And so I take this 4-second video of my son coming through, and you can tell at the end of it, I'm like, great job, bud. And you could hear this, oh. And they get to me, they're like, my daughter comes around, and one of them doesn't like to hit jumps. She goes, you okay, Mom? And I said, I don't think I am, actually. And they're like, do you want us to get ski patrol? And this is where you shouldn't take advice from me, okay? I said, no, I'm not going down in a body bag. The dumbest thing I did. It took me a couple minutes to get up. Let me just see. Maybe I just sprained it. I'm like, man, that felt weird. I don't know what I did, guys. And we started going, and I made a right turn, and that was fine. No problem. I went to make the left turn, and my knee popped out again. And there were some choice words flying out of my mouth. I will assure you, it was not a beautiful moment to be a parent. Don't lead by example on that one, right? And I know I was in shock. Now, hindsight, I'm like, listen to your kids when they say, get the ski patrol, take the ride down the mountain. And I figured out how to position my ski. I was going down kind of on just the edge for a while. Then I was like, no, this is not going to work. So we're still halfway up the mountain. And I kind of figured out how to do a snow plow, and I got down. But I went to walk, and my knee popped out again. And my daughter's like, hey, Mom, thank God for the ski packs. She's got ski packs on. She's carrying 2 sets of skis on her. And I'm using poles as crutches, just taking it easy. I could walk if I went slow. And later on, they all said, they're like, that was the slowest walk to the car ever. And they're like, we were trying not to pick on you because we knew you weren't happy, but it was my left knee. So I was able to, get in our Suburban.
You still drove.
Still drove. Yeah. Again, smartest person out there, obviously. But I had blown out that knee pretty good. So I had surgery at the end of April. Of course, I waited till the end of ski season. Even though I wasn't skiing, I would still drive them up, and they would ski with a friend. And so I would just sit in the lodge. And so, I did pre-surgery physical therapy to strengthen that leg as much as we could. And then I've been in PT twice a week since then. Totally worth it. I mean, we're now at a point, I'm cautiously optimistic is how we're going to say this. We're doing a lot of plyometrics, we're doing a lot of jumps, and I'm back to running and things like that. And they said they really think I'll be skiing before Christmas if I want to. And I do. And people are like, would you do it again? I'm like, I think if it's what you love, yes, accidents will happen. You could live in a bubble. But if part of living is getting out and exploring, you run a risk of like twisting an ankle just walking down a stairs, right? And so I'll be cautious. I probably won't be quite as adventurous with some things this year. But at the same point, absolutely. I mean, it is our family fun, and obviously laughter, since we can laugh at each other like after. We know you're okay, but we can laugh at it. Happened to me. It wasn't one of the kids, thank goodness, And, they've seen what it is to kind of come back from a challenge in life where it's like, you got to work hard. Like going back to ski isn't just have knee surgery and you're right back on the slope. Like it's a lot of hard work. But I think those are good examples for kids to see and parents and very real life scenarios. So yeah, it was good. It was good humor though at the time. I'm not going to lie.
So you think you'll still be hitting some jumps this winter?
Yes.
I love that.
I don't think we should ask my husband what he thinks of that part, but yeah,
He's not here.
He
doesn't decide.
I'm not going to take anything too extreme early on, right? But like at physical therapy yesterday, we're jumping off boxes and we're landing. And there's things that it's like you're landing, it's a lot of one-legged things. So yeah, it's a lot of strength and endurance. And yeah.
And it wasn't actually the jump that got you.
No.
So I feel like I approve of this, really. It was really the snow after the jump that got you.
Snow's
to get anyone. So where can we find the Pure Mountain Fun products if we want to go on and buy them? I know I would love a ski pack. I think that sounds like the perfect thing to make it much easier for me to get to the mountain. And maybe a ski mat when it comes out.
You can go to our website. And so you can do puremountainfun.com. You can do theskipack.com. Any of the product names are also the URL, which is kind of how the kids like it, because they said people remember that, like the ski pack naming convention. That's what people asked us. What do you call that ski pack? Or what do you call the ski pack you're wearing there? And so they kind of helped impact the naming convention because that's what they see and that's what they think. What is that ski mat thing you're standing on? So it makes sense. It's intuitive.
When you sell to Amazon, do you have to ship like a certain amount of product to a wholesaler? Or is there some like warehouse in Arkansas you ship everything? How does that work?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we used to work with a partner, and so they would buy it at wholesale,
Okay.
and then they would kind of they built out the site and that. A year ago, we decided to bring it all back in-house in terms of we control that site, so it's not sold at wholesale. So we ship them. We can change the colors at any time. We have a lot more quick turn control options. So we do it Amazon or fulfillment by Amazon. It's called FBA. And so that's what many things are. So we actually ship to a warehouse for Amazon or with Amazon. And then when you order it, that's how they execute all the delivery. So it's not that we get notified and then it's upon us to ship. It is all through them.
If you're talking about like somebody's in Breckenridge, they see one of your kids with this ski pack, like, I got to have that thing. I'm here for a week. And they're going to get it in 2 days. Help me understand. So the order comes in, I'm sitting online. I've got Amazon Prime.
Mhm.
It goes from your warehouse to Amazon's warehouse to them?
No, it's in Amazon's warehouse.
It's in
actually.
Amazon warehouse.
Yeah,
That's
so
what they
we
know
provide a certain
works.
amount of inventory to them, and we just see what that inventory count is, so we know when to replenish them. So I actually don't have to see when the individual orders are hitting for them because it's already stocked and they're just managing all that execution on their side, which is great. We had pulled all manufacturing back domestic this year, so it's all made actually here in Western Colorado in Grand Junction. So it's fun because if we see certain colors are moving quicker than others, I can quickly have more made, I should say. Or if, like every now and then the kids come up with new color ideas, we can turn those, but not just having them on our website, we can get it into the Amazon Fulfillment Center. And so people that are wanting to buy through them, it's not like it's a limited selection necessarily.
And then so if, let's say there's a run on purple, then they'll just kind of shut that down on the site until the fulfillment center gets them. Is it automated in that way?
Yeah, good question. So we just get notified when the inventory is getting low enough in a certain area.
Okay.
And then our fulfillment just knows ship more, another case or whatever that volume's looking like.
It's so hard to be a company that isn't on Amazon.
You have to.
You have to sort of figure that avenue out. Well, thank you for that. I've always kind of wondered how you navigate that. So they're not sitting in your living room anymore, right, Julie?
No. We needed space back. When your business takes over your house, you have gone big enough that you have to make some changes. So, yeah, we passed that phase of life.
We love to talk at the end as we're wrapping up about what après looks like. And maybe, we talked a little bit about what it looks like as you're driving back and some of your favorite gelato places. Are there any other rituals? Let's say you're staying up there and you have a condo. Like, what does après ski look like for you and your family?
Yeah, I think it was like a year or two ago. I shared a little video, and we'll be on this back patio sometimes where my kids are blowing bubbles because they freeze when it's cold enough. It's chips and salsa. That is my weakness, hands down. My youngest is the only one of our kids who somehow she was introduced to soda or pop, Coke, whatever you want to call it, depending where you're at around the country. And she thinks a root beer is the coolest thing. And so she'll sit there with her chips, salsa, and a root beer, and we're blowing bubbles because they freeze and they float different. And they just think it's funny. But there's one place we've stayed, there's a little fox, and they've named her Foxana because obviously my kids grew up in the era of the movie Frozen. And so Foxana will sit down below if it's the apple-scented bubbles. So it's just kind of sitting on a back patio, laughing about it, having fun about the day, talking about what they want to try tomorrow or what they hope to learn. I think that's what I really love is it has kept a really strong bond for our family because we're doing things together on a weekend. There's times that we'll get up there and, if somebody's not feeling it and we can't hit the mountain, we'll just have to start slow and we might go sled in a local sledding hill. And it's chips and salsa for sure and bubbles.
We are so grateful for Julie for coming on the podcast and even more excited that she's given us a 15% off discount code to share with the Ski Moms. Use code SKIMOMSFUN for 15% off at puremountainfun.com. That's SKIMOMSFUN for 15% off. Hey, Ski Moms, we hope you enjoyed today's episode and got some great tips for your next family ski adventure. If you had as much fun listening as we did making this episode, we'd love for you to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on our latest episodes. And don't forget to rate and review us. Your feedback helps us bring you more of the content you love and helps other ski moms find our podcast. Plus, we love hearing from you. So whether you're on the slopes or just dreaming of your next snowy getaway, stay connected with us. Follow us on social media, share your favorite episodes with your friends, and let's keep this awesome community growing.
It's that time again. Ski season is officially kicking off, and the gear is starting to pile up. From new jackets and goggles to hand-me-down boots and helmets, it feels like every day something new is coming into the house. And before it all disappears into the ski lodge lost and found, we're labeling it with Mabel's labels. These personalized, durable labels stick to everything. Jackets, gloves, helmets, water bottles, even ski poles. And they stay stuck through snow, ice, washing machines, and the chaos of the ski lodge. Of course, Mabel's labels aren't just for ski season. They're perfect for all other sports and activities our kids are into. Soccer cleats, ballet shoes, hockey gear, art supplies, lunch boxes, you name it. They're laundry safe, dishwasher safe, and mom approved. And with the holidays coming up, they also make a thoughtful, practical gift or stocking stuffer. And because we love to share a good deal with our Ski Mom community, use code SKIMOMS for 15% off your order at mabelslabels.com. Some exclusions apply. Keep your gear out of the lost and found and keep your sanity. Mabel's Labels has you covered.